All right, everybody, welcome to our first podcast as part of the Arts and Performance Entrepreneurship Initiative Fall Semester 2025 here at Florida Atlantic University. This is a first experimental uh, episode, if you want to call it. And today we're going to have our first guest, no other than the very famous art creative, trombonist, trumpeter, musician, arranger, writer. I mean, name it. She has done so many things within the art. Her name is Izzi Guzman. And I invite all of you to check out her website and all her resume, CV, bio, everything that she has in that website. That website is one of the icons in which how your website should look like at the end of this semester or at the end of this course when you finish the certificate for the Arts and Performance Entrepreneurship here at FAU. This is going to be a podcast that is going to be pertaining to the Arts and Performance Entrepreneurship class, but you could feel free to click on the actual YouTube channel and watch the podcast on your own if you are not part of the class. I'm going to have it open and available for everybody because I think that everything that Easy has here to share with you is very, very important for every aspiring artist in the world. So, with no further ado, we're going to start with our conversation with Easy. Okay, so Easy, just as a way for you to introduce yourself and tell our audience, maybe there are probably two or three people that don't know who you are. The majority of them, I'm sure they do, but for those few people, um, what was the first spark for you, because you are a trombonist, you're a storyteller, you are, a multifaceted artist. So, what was first? What was the order of things? How did your time at Berkeley and Frost School of Music at UM have shaped you to become who you are today as an artist and as an educator? Your projects, social media, they all seem to be evolving together. So, what do you feel is one or several inspire uh, icons that have served for you to develop this side of your career? Do you think the inspiration comes from one source or different sources? So here it is, Easy.
Hey everyone, so great to speak with all of you. I love these first couple of questions that you asked because my first inspiration for becoming a musician was actually not music at all. I loved drawing and everything to do with visual arts when I was a kid. I wasn't too into music at the time, and when I started playing music in middle school, I actually didn't play trombone, I played euphonium. So it was just a very natural thing for me. I wanted to join the band, see how I would like it. I also continue to draw and do visual arts and stuff. I've always been a creative person. I've always liked to do creative things. So it kind of turned into a bigger thing for me as I continued into middle school and high school. And when I was in eighth grade, I got into the performing arts magnet school of my district, and I wanted to be in the jazz band. And I had already played jazz for a year, but I hadn't played it on trombone. I played on euphonium. So I
Wow.
knew that if I wanted to play in the jazz band at this new school, which was very highly, uh, it was very highly regarded in the district, I had to audition. I knew I would have to learn trombone. So I kind of just took it upon myself to teach myself trombone. I didn't have any lesson teachers or anything like that. I just rented a trombone from a music store and taught myself the positions and how to hold it and how to move the slide and basically how to how to play trombone in a way that makes sense as a euphonium player. So um, yeah, so I it really just continued from there. I played a lot of trombone in middle school, I played euphonium still. I still played both instruments. And once I was in high school, I just really fell in love with music and joined some additional ensembles outside of my school. And when it came time to decide what I wanted to study for college, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher in some way because that was a dream of mine since I was a kid. And with the combination of teaching and also music education seemed like a perfect choice for me. So it didn't really take too much additional thought from there. I applied to music programs as a jazz trombonist and also as a euphonium player, and I got the amazing opportunity of coming to for my bachelor's and also to study at Berkeley, which was really great. So I've just always been intrigued I've always been a learner. I've always been intrigued by different areas of music that I hadn't learned beforehand. Like I said before, I never had a private lesson teacher until I was like midway through high school. So I really just wanted to learn things I really just taught myself on my own. How to play the trombone, how to play the trumpet, how to compose and arrange using notation software. And once I got into Berklee College of Music, I started learning how to use audio production software such as Logic. So I think having that drive and curiosity of learning a bunch of new things and always wanting to step out of my comfort zone has helped me a lot because I'm a trombonist at heart, but I'm also an arranger because I love to do that. And with being an arranger and a composer, I've had to learn a lot of other things. I've had to learn how to lead a band. I've had to learn how to record, how to use audio production software, how to make clean looking charts. So all of those little skills are things that you don't always think you'll have to learn as a musician, but they're really important. So being open to those new skills and new opportunities when they come up is really essential, and it's important to have that growth mindset and not to think that you don't have to do something, but instead to think this is an opportunity for me to learn something so that I can be better and that I can have more opportunities.
Wow. It's okay. Podcast is over. That's it. Have a good night. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But this is wow. This is a lot to unpack. It's fantastic because sometimes you don't even know how your career path is going to be lined up in life. I started trombone because that was the last instrument in the room. There was nothing else. And the other option was percussion. No offense to the percussionists, but I ended up liking the trombone better. Thanks to my dad, actually. My dad very encouraged me to it by showing me some recordings that he had of very famous brass groups that later on I discovered who they were in my career along. And I became inspired by it, and that's how I became a trombonist. And then I discovered that was the path for me, because I wanted to become a musician in the United States. And even though I had accomplished a AA in audio engineering when I was 19. Um, uh, there was no path for scholarship offering or anything like that to pursue a career as an audio engineer, but there was a lot of opportunities to as a musician, to fill up ensembles in universities in the US. So I discovered that, and it's so similar for so many artists. But going back to Easy, okay, branding and promotion, Easy. This seems to be very important, not only for many artists, for but also for you as an artist. And sometimes I ask myself the question, sometimes what is first? Sometimes I'm in the dichotomy of what was first, the egg of the chicken, and I transpolate the same idea, the same question to what was first, the brand, the media, the social media, the branding, the promotion, or the actual content that you created? Was that content created in real life and then transferred to social media, or it was the opposite way? So I see that, how do you decide what to highlight on your website and platforms when you are designing your platforms? You create such beautiful visuals. I can say is beautiful to watch as it's beautiful to listen to. So do you design your own materials? And what's one marketing or content strategy that has really worked for you in all this time that you have been working within social media?
Yeah, so I first made a website actually at the beginning of when the pandemic hit in 2020. I was still in high school and I had this really big interest of entrepreneurship and learning about building a career and making a website because I was finishing up high school at the time. So I wanted to think about my future and what I wanted to do in music. So yeah, and I hadn't really thought about that stuff before that. I had a social media page, but it wasn't that big at the time. I kind of just posted concerts that I was at, some videos here and there. I kept it professional, but I wasn't really thinking about it that much at the time. But when I made my website, I really wanted to highlight everything I do, not only as a performer, but also as an arranger, composer, a teacher. Even though I didn't have a ton of experience in those areas yet, I still wanted to show what I did have because I was young, but I wanted to make more opportunities and make a name and brand for myself as I was getting into college. So I wanted to highlight the many different areas of things that I do, not just as a trombone player, but also I do this, and that. So I used a lot of pictures, videos, and anything that I had really from high school and different opportunities that I had at the time. And I used Wix to make my website. I've now switched to Squarespace, but those providers are really easy to use, and make your own website. You don't have to code, or you don't really have to design anything per se. You can use templates that they give you and make it your own. So I wanted to make my own logo and do that kind of stuff myself. So I did do that, and it can be helpful to have like a logo or like a color scheme because it's really about you and your brand. Like how are you going to stand out from other people? Because there's something I think about a lot is there's thousands upon thousands of trombone players, but there's only one me and there's only one you. So that's why I like to tell people that I'm not just a trombone player, like I'm this complete package of everything that I do, not only within music too, but also outside of music. I do graphic design and photography, which honestly that is a lot of my income right now, or those non-musical areas. It's really interesting. So
So you're also having income regarding taking as a photographer?
yeah, I actually make a lot of money as a photographer for the Frost School of Music. They hire a couple of students. There's three of us that take pictures of concerts, and it that was something that also kind of just bloomed naturally. I had no idea that I would get into that. I started volunteering with different clubs around campus as their like social media visual design person, and for one of them in particular, I they wanted me to like take pictures with like a professional camera, which I didn't even have at the time. My sister had one, and I was like, hey, can I use this? But it seemed interesting enough, so I dove into it and started to really like it. I really liked how
Wow.
I feel like it really integrated with the music really well because use I could use those pictures as a part of my portfolio on my website, and also it was just another fun creative it's another fun creative outlet for me to do outside of playing my instrument. So
Wow.
Yeah, that it was such a natural or organic thing that really grew over the course of a couple of years, and soon enough I was working for some summer programs at the Frost School, and also some photography jobs during the school year within the studio music and jazz department. And I just started to snap pictures of rehearsals and concerts of the students, high school and college students at Frost. And yeah, so I just started to integrate the social media, photography, and graphic design more and more into my musicianship. And it's helped me to be more intentional about the messages that I want to share, and also to not be afraid to share those things. Not be afraid to share
So
what
one of your first clients have become the very same school that you're learning from.
exactly. Yeah, it's yeah, because the clubs that I was taking pictures of, they were connected with Frost, and I think I think how it happened is that once the faculty started noticing what I was doing, they wanted me to work with their program. So I started to work with John DeVersa more in the studio music and jazz department, and I started taking pictures and running the social media and taking videos of events and stuff like that. And it really just grew from there, and
Yeah,
been
I mean,
very fun.
it's a fantastic collaboration to have because and that is the whole idea behind all these programs. You know, when we are in the professorship side of things, our main idea, a good professor's idea, will be to develop our students to become colleagues and collaborators. You know, I could give you also a small example of that. One of my arts and entrepreneurship cohorts, Arcadia Valle, she is the one that designed my latest logo, my latest personal logo of my personal brand, and she designed also the logo for the trombone studio here at the university, and it's a fantastic way of displaying all these ideas. So out of all these strategies of marketing that you have talked about, you know, which one has been, or what content strategy has been some of those that have worked the best for you?
Ooh, it's honestly hard to pinpoint just one. I think throughout this whole process,
Or many?
yeah, I think throughout this whole process, I didn't really get into social media marketing specifically until very recently, as far as like the algorithm and when to post and like what type of content to post and stuff like that. I just always like to share what I do, and to not be afraid of sharing just about everything that I do, like every gig that I have, every opportunity, thoughts that I have, things I want to share. I think just having a social media presence at all can be a huge step forward for anybody, because it really is a necessity these days to have a strong social media presence, because that's how people know who you are, and that's how I've been able to collaborate with a lot of people outside of Florida and outside of Miami, people like you, for example. We've connected, we met at a gig in person, but we've connected a lot more through social media. So having that presence is important. And also being consistent with your message and being consistent with your posting is also important. You don't want to have a page that has like posts only from 2019 and before, because then people will think you don't have a social media presence. So it's important to keep the page up to date, keep it professional, and always share what's going on, because you never know, new opportunities can spring up just from people connecting with you about a post that they saw, or like a story that you shared. So
I don't know if you noticed, but there is something that you just pinpoint, and is how important is to be organic at the time of posting and using social media. How the tables have turned, in which now someone that just limit their social media presence to creating content for the social media's sake are not being as successful as the people that are actually translating what they do in real life into the social media,
exactly.
which becomes actually a tangible thing to follow through, and to rely on and learn from and become a fan of. Is something that many students, because of how dynamic and fast things have changed, especially in the digital world. For example, I could give you a simple example how the hashtags have become actually useless in recent months. Basically, now if you don't post any hashtag, you have more probability of your content to become more viral than adding the hashtags. It's like the hashtags are now preventing your content to viralize. And when in months ago, so many months ago, it used to be the norm. But if people haven't noticed, there was a point, especially during the pandemic, in which you needed at least 15 to 20 hashtags,
Mm.
and then it started being diminished to five, six, and now three, two, one, and now it's basically to none. It's actually becoming an obstacle. So those are the kind of things that you have to be aware of, because now what is reality and the real content is what becoming more important at the time of strategizing with your social media content. And how important is to show that the person that you're showing in your social media is the real you, and
Absolutely.
not some sort of product that just lives in the digital world. Because the way of making income using social media nowadays have turned into um promoting what you do in real life. If you really don't do what you do in real life, there's going to be minimum to non-income through your social media, no matter how many followers you have.
Absolutely. I think you really made a great point with saying how your social media should reflect you, because it's very easy to treat social media as the end goal of like this perfect thing that you have to curate, when it's really the opposite. Like, you are your own person, and social media is the canvas at which you can connect with others and form a community. So Instagram's always changing, TikTok's always changing, YouTube's always changing, but the community is always there. So that's really the most important part to me. I create posts that I like, and I post things that I want to post and stuff like that. But honestly, so many of the opportunities that come from that arise from like the messages and connecting with people and sharing and seeing their posts and saying, hey, we should hang out, or oh hey, do you want to like perform, or I don't know, there's so many little things that have cropped up because of what people have seen on my page and what I've seen on other people's pages. So it's really all about community. It's, that you are your brand. It's not this like this artificial product that you sell. It's you. It's a very individual thing, but it's also a community thing, because you want to connect with your audience to share what you can offer, and share what's going on in your life and your career, so that you can show other people what you do, and inspire them, and connect with them, whether they're musicians or not.
And letting them know how everything is possible, and all the things that can happen. For example, last week I made a post of it became very popular because of the content that I posted. I show a rehearsal, my first rehearsal that I had with the Florida Grand Opera as the new principal bass trombone of the organization. So I showed that was on Thursday morning, but then at the same time, Thursday evening, I was performing as a soloist with the FAU orchestra and on tenor trombone. So that was exactly the same day. All I had in between was that I went home for about an hour or so. I took my dog out, I took a little nap, just to recover, and then came back and I put my soloist hat and when I'm perform with the orchestra, and it's one of the best performances I have had in a long time. And well, not in a long time, but it was really great, and it was just a normal day in the life of Jose Leon. So that could be a normal day in the life of any aspiring artist. If I can do it, anybody can do it. All you need to do is organize your time and invest in your learning and invest in your skills. It's not it didn't happen in 1 week that I was able to learn how to read music, how to say read music, how to perform music, and how to switch between instruments from one time to the other within the same day, switching styles, switching things to do. And that didn't happen like magic. That's the result of years of effort, but smart effort. Putting the amount of time that is the smart amount of time to do it. You don't need 12 hours a day to become effective and to become an effective artist. All you need is a certain amount of time that is worked very smart and very intelligently. um and you are able to learn those skills that allows you to do that in the minimum amount of time possible. That's why it's called an investment, and instead of a waste. you know
Absolutely. And
so, and
yeah.
and you're a great example of it well as well. It's for example, you juggle performing, teaching, composing, and leading.
Yeah.
And which of those feels sometimes most natural to you right now?
Ooh. It's hard to pick one because I'm doing them pretty equally. I'm studying jazz composition for my doctoral degree at University of Miami, but outside of that, I also have a handful of playing opportunities, which is really really great because I was worried that I wouldn't have the time to play, but I do, and I'm able to do so many great things outside of school, such as playing with the Miami Pixel Symphony on bass trombone. And I also have a part-time position as an assistant at South Miami Middle School. So I assist the band director there twice a week, and I get
I
to
was gonna ask you, assistant to what?
yeah, assistant to the band director. So I work. It's through the Shalala Music Reach program. So I'm hired by the university, but I get to go work with the students there twice a week and work with their jazz band. So it's pretty equal right now. I would say overall playing has felt like my primary thing, but I think over the past like 3 or so years, that's definitely shifted to being like an even split between the teaching, the composing, the performing, band leading, which really ties into everything. And honestly, something that I didn't realize until recently that I think a lot of people don't realize when they're coming into making a career in music is that you are putting on many different hats a day and you don't always have a normal schedule, and it's not the same as having a 9 to 5 job where you're doing one thing for 8 hours a day. For
They
me,
always say we're artists, we're not normal.
exactly, like we're doing many different things a
We're
day.
not supposed to be normal.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I'll read you my schedule for October 30th. I started the day with teaching for an hour at South Miami Middle. That was at 8:35 in the morning. I love my early starts to the day. I went to UM. I had an advising meeting with my composition professor for the classes I'm going to take. I had some time to do some work. I think that's when I posted stuff on the social media accounts I managed. I had 2 classes, and between that, I had lunch. And in the evening, I had a rehearsal with the Henry Mancini Institute Orchestra. I wasn't playing, but that day, because it was we were rehearsing the second half of the show, which I was not on. I was on the first half. But
Yeah.
I was there as a writer. So I arranged for the show. which we did last Friday at the Adrian Arch Center. And we rehearsed my piece. And then I actually was kind of double booked because I had a photography job with Miami Jam Sessions that very same evening, which is a music therapy organization. So I had to I had to work with the director of the Henry Mancini Institute saying, hey, is it possible to do my piece first in the rehearsal so that I can make this other job that I have? And thankfully, they were able to do that. So I showed up to the rehearsal with my score and my camera bag, which because I needed that because I was about to go somewhere else to do that, and we ran through my piece. It went well, and then I left and did my job with Miami Jam Sessions. So just within that day alone, I had a bunch of different hats on, and it's it feels great, honestly.
No, the reason I'm asking you is because there is this myth sometimes among young artists that if you decide to become creative in different areas, your expertise is going to be affected, when in reality they start feeding from each other, and you start
Yeah.
learning everything as a big packet. It's like your
Mhm.
brand becomes divided, not divided, but distributed within all these amazing areas, that because of that relationship that you're able to create in between them, you're able to write this amazing machine
Yeah.
that you call your own creation, and drive it all together very smoothly, and
Definitely.
it's all a matter of making them work together as part of the same engine. you know i'm
Absolutely.
I'm the director of arts and performance entrepreneurship, but I'm also the director of the trombone studio, and I'm creating all these two programs simultaneously. And at the same time, I'm in the top list of the performance trombone list in not only South Florida but in many other parts of the country. And I go and perform with those ensembles at the highest level, and that's why they keep calling me back. Otherwise they wouldn't. So I keep my highest standard in everything I do, without diminishing any of those areas. I treat them
Yeah.
all equally, and I still have time to take care of my family, to take care of my personal life, to go out with my dog, to go out with my wife, to invite her for some wine on a Friday afternoon if I don't have anything to play. And people ask you, how do you do that? And it's just
Yeah.
a matter of doing everything that you just described.
Yeah.
You just put it beautifully right there. In fact, that was gonna be my one of my next question, but you answered already. How do you keep creativity alive while managing so many roles? And is as simple as, I will define it, but I want to hear how would you. I would define it as organizing and love for what you do. And when you love what you do and you organize for it, all of this is possible. But in the case
Yeah.
of Easy, what will be her strategy?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with those two words. That's really the central thing for me is having this framework of what I want to do and also having fun with it because music's fun. We do music because we love it. We do it
Yes.
because we want to we connect with people, we make friends with music, and those opportunities can open a lot of doors. So something that I've thought about recently is, I'm a doctoral student and I'm still in school, but I don't tell people that I'm a student. Like, I'll tell people that I go to Frost, but I'm a musician and I do like all these things, but I'm also taking classes at the school. So I see school as like not the thing that I'm doing all the time, not this, I don't see it as a limiting thing, but I see it as part of what I'm doing and I see it as a vehicle for me to learn even more. Because if you were to look at my calendar, which is like color coded and everything, because otherwise my brain would be a
Yes.
mess. I have a section for school, which is yellow, but a lot of my calendar is like other stuff. So it's important
I
to,
can show this. That's my color.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, my
yeah,
calendar is like a rainbow. So
color coding is great.
yeah, so it's important to have that, for me to have that mindset that I'm in school and I'm prioritizing that because that's what I'm doing, but I also want to do these other things and perform with organizations like Miami Pixel Symphony, the Wild Bloom Poetry open mic that I'm playing at, teaching at South Miami Middle, doing photography. All those things that I mentioned are opportunities that I have outside of my coursework, and I want to do all those things, and I enjoy doing all those things. So I give 100% to all of that. I think it's so important to give 100% to everything you do, even if you don't see it as like, even if you don't make a ton of money from it, even if you don't like, even if it's a one-time thing, even if you don't see it as something you might do again, like still view it as a learning opportunity and still give 100% because you never know what's going to come after that. And another thing that I want to touch on as well is the fact that like when we're in school as well, it's so important to connect with people in school. Like it's not just about the coursework. It's not just about like what we're learning. Like yes, I learn a lot, but I've also connected with so many people that I've connected with people that have given me paid opportunities outside of school. So that's really what the music community is. It's not so much about like you have this degree, here's a job. Like that's not how the music industry works. Like you don't just automatically get a job when you graduate. You have to make those opportunities for yourself. And I've and speaking of creating opportunities for yourself, I've loved creating these little projects and opportunities for myself while I'm in school and creating my own band, doing shows with my own band on WDNA radio, writing compositions. And I'll share like the probably one of the biggest projects that I've done recently, which is an event that I put on called Mario Kart Live. We and I this was a really fun passion project that I did because I've always I'm a gamer at heart as well, and I love playing Mario Kart. And I've seen those posts on I've seen posts on social media about these events where there's a live band playing the music from the game while people play, and I just thought that was
Oh,
the
it is
coolest
fun.
thing. Yeah,
I have done those before. I did a tour with the Legends of Zelda about
yeah,
10 years ago.
that's so
And
cool.
I have done also the Video Games Live Corporation on tour. And
Yeah,
one of the things that I have enjoyed the most during those tours have been the local competitions. You know, they usually have
mhm,
a game competition
yeah.
with local kids, and the winner gets to play the game with the live orchestra on stage.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have done it with both Guitar Hero and with Froggy. And I remember rehearsing for those in particular. Rehearsing, we had a set of parts for every level of the game,
That's how we did
and
it for my event too.
the rehearsal was to be able to jump from one level to another, just in
Yeah,
case, depending of how the player were doing. And we were all wired, and the conductor was telling you when to go to level one, level two, level three, going back to two, going back to three.
yeah,
It was so fantastic because our eyes were ready to jump to whatever the conductor was
yeah,
telling us to jump to, because we're not seeing what everybody's seeing on the screen. Where the screen is behind us, and we're
yeah,
just relying on whatever the conductor is telling us to jump on, and we have to play the right music for the right level.
yeah.
The adrenaline is great.
It's
We
such an
feel like we're
interesting skill
also
set.
playing. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
It's such an interesting skill set, and putting
Yeah.
together the Mario Kart Live event was is I think that's honestly the perfect example of me putting together something that connected so many different areas of what I do.
Yes.
I put this event together from scratch. Thankfully, I had help. My partner Michael Gaspari and I did this together, And I think that's also really important, like doing stuff with other people, ask for help. And we built this from scratch. Like we were band leaders. We had to find people to be in the band, find a day, time, and place to
Becoming like a family business.
exactly. We found a we organized the event, the physical event space. We organized the rehearsals. We organized the band. We arranged all the music together. So I got to put my arranging hat on. I wasn't playing because I was conducting. So that was fun as well because I had to put that conducting hat on and cue the certain music for different parts of the game. Like when someone gets a star in Mario Kart, I would shout out like star 1, 2, 3, 4, and they would play the star music. And then I would cue them back to the original music of the track that they're on. So I and also advertising the event was huge. Like I put my social media hat on as well with this event because we created a page. I told everyone I knew about the event. We created posters, we created videos, we had pictures, graphics of like all the band members. We did all of that. So
Wow.
yes, it was a music event, but we did so many things that like were outside of the music realm, but things that are so important to make the event run, such as scheduling the event and all those like logistical things. So
Yes, I
it's
mean
important to know that.
it's incredible because, for example, right now we're gonna be hosting the this year's Florida Music Symposium, the Florida College Music Symposium in January.
Nice.
Because yeah, it's the event that happens every 2 years, but it used to happen in Central Florida. But they because they closed that venue, they decided to choose FAU this year, and I
Mm,
have been assigned to be the students artist competition coordinator.
mm.
So that's another hat that I have to put on. And right now I'm in the verge of finding all the collaborative pianists who are gonna be all the judges.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start sending initial invitations to see who's available or so. Which, by the way, you'll probably be receiving an email from me regarding that.
I would love to
And
come. That's
if you're
fantastic.
available, then we'll talk about details or so. But that's off the record. That's not in the in the video. But
Okay.
just keep that in mind.
Ooh, okay.
Um, so with all this conversation that we're having, you have talked already about how many hats you wear, how many hats we wear as artists, and how many different paths we have taken within our same career, and how many careers have been creating within the arts in the recent years, and especially the ones that are going to be created in years to come, especially that we're moving towards a time in which a lot of machines are taking over human jobs. Now you see all these little automatic robot cars doing food delivery and doing delivery instead of human beings. You don't see any more human beings at the toll roads. You don't see any more human beings. Human beings are being reduced at the cashiers in major stores and supermarket.
Yeah.
You're seeing all this taking over of technology. So, what new career path do you see opening for young artists in this digital era?
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, there is so much just to say about technology and the arts. It's both an exciting time and a scary time. We're seeing the rise of AI in the arts, and I'm not a fan of that because
Me neither.
AI will never replace us.
No.
It'll never replace the community that we can build. And I think as as robots start to replace things like cashiers and stuff like that, I think people will realize that the world is kind of boring when you're not seeing as many people around. Like when
Yes.
machines are doing everything, life gets kind of boring. Like the excitement from music and life in general comes from connecting with people. And I I think one of the most exciting things for me is that like regardless of where I end up as far as like my primary job, if I even have a primary job, that there's always opportunities that come up, and I'm I'm always open to things that may come up in the future, future opportunities, future performance gigs, and future collaborations. And it's really important to just be open to all those things and see what else will come next. And as far as like technology, I do think there are some really exciting opportunities for using technology in like a live performance. For example, my partner Michael, he plays piano, but he also plays synthesizers. And that is really fun to write for. I love writing for synthesizers and seeing all the sounds that they can make. And there's so much potential with using technology to like add
Yeah,
on
like
to live performance.
I'm becoming an expert on contrabass trombone.
Oh, wow. That is cool. I want to try that.
Anytime you want.
Yeah. And and with technology, like there's so many I've had so many gigs where we're hooked up to microphones and we use in-ear monitors and stuff like that. And there's a screen in the background. And I think that can really add so much to a performance. And so it's important to know about that, like how to use in-ear monitors, how to record, and all that technology can give you, without using AI. A fun example of technology that I like to think of is the Miami Pixel Symphony. I played bass trombone in the Miami Pixel Symphony, which is really fun because I'm mostly a jazz tenor trombonist, but I'm also now like equally as much a bass trombonist. And
Yeah.
every time we have a concert, we have screens up like a projector where we play music from video games and anime. And when we play the song, the audience can view like footage from the game and anime on the screen. So it makes it really fun and interactive, to have that like visual element as well. So putting together productions, putting together shows, putting together interactive events like the Mario Kart Live event that I mentioned, I think that's really where like the focus of music is turning to right now is to make things more interactive and to have the community involved in some way. It makes it more fun for everyone, honestly. We get to play around with the technology and these new instruments and tools, and the audience gets to feel like even more immersed in the music that we're playing. So it's really interesting, and technology is evolving every day. So
Oh,
we're seeing like more prominence of like electronic wind instruments, electronic valve instruments, synthesizers, synth bass, electronic drums. I think those are really fun textures to add, to my writing, and also things to for me that I want to try out as a performer. Like I would love to try out an electronic valve instrument someday. So there's so much potential, with technology, and also just music is always growing. There's music is never a static thing. There's always new genres. There's always new people, bending the status quo of what jazz music or classical music or pop music is. So
yes. It's
it's
music.
it's music, exactly. Like I think labeling music is like kind of
Yeah, I
futile.
don't like labels. I always tell everybody, all my students here, I see you all, you are all musicians.
Absolutely.
I don't see subtitles. I don't see I'm a music
Yep.
ed, music commercial music, music this, music. No, no, no. You're all
Yep.
musicians. We are all
Exactly.
in the same field and you cover different areas, but you need to
Yep.
be equally and in order to survive in this new world that we're living in, you have to be as versatile as you can.
Yeah.
So that way you replace that word that I just mentioned, survival, okay, by living.
Yeah.
The person that specifies in only one thing, in only one little field within such a vast field like music or the arts, for example, and they focus in one little field only, those are people that are condemned to survive for the rest of their life, living in
Yep.
survivor mode. Well, instead, if you diversify all your skills, you're not gonna be in survival mode for the rest of your life. Instead, you're going to become
Yeah.
living, living
Yes.
your life, which is what we want to do. At the end of the day, this is life, and we're meant to live it, not to survive it. And it's very important. So, talking a little bit about more specific projects, we're getting towards the end of our show today. So, but I like to touch a couple of things before the final closing statements. You have yeah, I think you have had publishing opportunities with Brava Jazz, and you have produced your own albums, Interdimensional, Celebration,
Hmm.
and you have approached valuing your work and setting your rates and creative and your creative professionalism. So from the professional growth and collaborative and business point of view, okay, business perspective. You have worked also with major names like John Daversa, like Christian McBride. So, what makes a collaboration feel, such collaborations feel right for you or to you? Any experience that you thought you an important business or contract lessons early on you have had in the past, and how do you approach valuing that work and setting rates when it comes to this type of creative professionals? Because one little trap that I have seen that young artists usually fall into is, oh, I'm gonna have the opportunity to work with someone famous. If they don't pay me, it's okay. It's someone famous, and it's not. So how to put your value, even though what you're working or what you're going to collab or who you're going to collaborate with is a major name, but you still have to make your value into the field as an artist.
Yeah, always know your worth. Even if you're a student and you have a gig, you should be making money. I've I've started getting paid gigs since I was in high school, and
Yes.
they weren't crazy high paying gigs, but they were paid gigs. You should never be working for free. So that's thing number one. And thing number two for being in the music business, if you want to call it that, is it's so important to put yourself out there and talk to people and ask them about opportunities, because you mentioned working with Brava Jazz Publishing and getting my chart published.
Yes.
And honestly, the story of how that happened, I just asked. Honest, truthfully, like I was at the Jazz Education Network conference, and I I think someone was talking about Brava Jazz in like a session or at the booth or something like that, and I just walked up to Alan Baylock, who is a co-founder, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to talk with you. I'm an arranger and composer. I have a couple of charts that I can show you. Would you be interested in having my charts published?" And he said, "Sure. Here's my business card. Send me an email." So during the conference, I sent him an email. We chatted a bit more afterwards on Zoom. We talked about what he might want to do and what charts of mine he wants to put on the website. And within a couple of months, it just happened. So I think the biggest takeaway for that, from that for anyone listening, is like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask people, like, hey, I'd love to perform at this venue. Are you looking for ensembles? Or hey, I'd love to have my chart performed by your ensemble. Do you have any space in your program? Or hey, I'd love to have my chart published. Are you interested? Because that's you want to be confident as a musician and a performer. You, even no matter how young you are, you still have experience, you still have credibility to your name, because we work hard and we study the music, and we're putting a lot of effort into this, and we have that experience to show for it. So when approaching people and talking to them, it's important to have the mindset of, like, hey, I'm a professional and I'm seeking an opportunity. rather than thinking, oh, I'm a student, like I'm below this person. Because the truth is, once you graduate from college with a music degree or any kind of degree, you're a colleague with everyone else now. Like I've met so many people at the Jazz Education Network conference and other conferences as well that are full-time professors, professional composers, and yes, they have probably have a lot more experience than I do, but we're all colleagues because we're professionals in the music industry. I think one of my favorite memories at these conferences is hanging out with Einan Serto and Jim McNeely at a at a bar and just like talking with them about writing and career
Yeah.
stuff because we're all professionals. I was like 21 or so at the time and younger, but we're I'm a composer, they're both composers. We're all professionals. So it's important to show that you're confident in yourself and that you have something that you can show to people and to have that personality of like being open to connecting with people and talking with people as well and taking the time to get to know people as well. You know, I was like a really like I was really really introverted for the longest time. I like didn't have that many friends in middle school and high school. I really just kept to myself and while there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but in the terms of having a music career, it's really important to connect with people and to feel comfortable doing that. And that honestly just comes from experience. It doesn't come overnight. So just don't be afraid of asking for opportunities and like asking your professors and reaching out to people and even like asking to do like stuff at your school. Like, hey, I'd love to like take pictures for this concert is something that I've asked a lot of people. Or like, hey, do you guys like need a sub for this ensemble? Just putting yourself out there and being open to different opportunities can open so many doors later on.
A couple of things that you just touched there that are so important and pertaining to what we're talking about here. Number one, your professors are going to be your first connections. So
Yes.
so never see your professors like I don't know, the enemy, because it's the one that is going to give me an F, and I'm going to first of all, we don't give grades. You earn your grade. We don't give grades. We are your first connection with the real world, and it's up to you that we're gonna be a good connection or not. And I can tell you from my own experience, I made a lot of friends at the time I was doing my doctoral degree at the University of Colorado when I got my doctoral degree there. But the main core of my friends are my professors.
Yeah.
If I get to go to Colorado again as a tourist to visit Colorado, because I would love to go back to Colorado as a tourist to enjoy all the things that I couldn't enjoy while I was a student, because I was a very dedicated student, and getting a doctoral degree from the University of Colorado is one of the hardest things that you can do. And if you don't dedicate to that, instead of just going to the city, you will never graduate. I guarantee, because it's very demanding. It's very, very hard. But because of that, your professors become some of your best friends. And I remember for my comprehensive exams, I asked my trombone professor, which was the committee chair of my committee, and I asked him, what do I need to prepare with in order to do good in the comprehensive exams? And he said, everything you know. And I was like, what? And he said, yes, just prepare with everything you know, and make sure that you can show us that you're a colleague. At the end of the day, we're looking for a colleague. That's all we're looking for. We're looking for someone that we can sit down with and also call doctor, just like we are. And that's it. And that ran such a strong bell in my head, and open, and it was like one of those type of moments, because it really guided me on everything that I needed to prepare for that. And the other thing is, when you are in college, you're finally in the field. You're in the place that you needed to be to become who you are and to become who you're going to be in the future. High school is not the place for that. High school is just to go through, get a little high school diploma to make your parents happy,
Mm,
and get some sort of GPA that is going to help you and allow you to go into college. So whatever happened in high school, whether it was good or bad, whether you were popular or not, whether you were relegated to a corner or not, I was
yeah,
one of those. I was one of those that was not popular. I was one of those that was a little. I was always the
yeah.
youngest in my class. I graduated
Me
high school
too.
when I was 16, so I
Me
was
too.
always seeing like the little the little chubby kid with glasses. I mean, it was like, nah, not nothing important. I would never be king of a snow king or whatever. Not nothing. Not popular contest for me. None of that. But at the end of the day, what was important is how were you approaching your life and how your life has become after high school. And let me tell you, nowadays, if someone asks me, would you like to go back to your high school years, I will say, heck no. I'd
Me
rather stay
either.
where I am. I love the Jose verse 2025 version. and
Yep.
I'm sure I'm gonna love the 2026 even better, and so and so and so. So no, no, no. I'm happy here where we are because we have discovered what we are and where we're going to. And it's incredible that for some people takes so many years, for some people takes less. And you're a doctoral candidate at the University of Miami, and that you know what that means. You're not a student. You say, well, I'm a student. No, you're not. You're a professional seeking for a higher degree. I
Exactly.
consider anybody that goes back to school to pursue a master's or a doctoral degree, you're supposed to be a professional already. You're just going to
Mhm.
enhance your academic side, your learning side, to take your learning up to the next level and up to the highest level. And you're going to have a degree that is going to support that. But that doesn't mean that the paper is going to save or not. You are already a
Yeah,
professional. You already have all the knowledge. You're probably going
exactly.
to enhance that knowledge, but you are already there. And just as a curiosity, easy for our students in class, how old are you now?
I am 22.
Because you say I was 21 back then, like it was a long time ago. And it was just last year. so
Yeah.
so
So
you are
so much
22.
happened this past year, honestly. And that's the
Yeah, no,
beautiful
no,
part of life.
that is true. That is true. So you're 22, you're already pursuing a doctoral degree. And there are a lot of young people that usually become professional students. And those that I call professional students is those that go straight from a bachelor's to a master's to a doctorate. But 90% of those students usually don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They don't have a specific purpose, and that's why a lot of them finish a doctoral degree, but they don't know what to do with it after that. That's not your case. You have been your age doesn't have to do anything with the fact that you have been so mature that you know specifically what you're looking for when you have gone back to school, whether it's Berkeley, to do a master's, to do two masters, or to do your doctorate, is because you have had a specific plan and your career has expanded through that specific plan. So, what's one piece of advice you give to young artists about building sustainable careers in all this regard that we have talked about today about you and your projects?
I would say the biggest piece of advice for that I could give to anyone is really to be open to anything. Music is such a diverse field, and no matter what kind of degree you're getting or what kind of gig you have, like I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to do stuff outside of that gig or outside of that degree a lot. Um, And for me, even though my degree is in jazz composition, I'm doing so much more outside of it, and I love that. So it's really important to have a growth mindset and to be open to doing things that may seem new or challenging, and to say yes to opportunities. You know, it's I've it could be very easy for me to say no to things that are outside of jazz because I could be like, oh, I'm a jazz trombonist, but I don't see myself that way. I don't want to limit myself to one genre or one type of ensemble or one instrument because I play tenor and bass trombone. So it's important to expand your lens of what you think of yourself from this little thing to like growing like to even a much bigger picture of you as a complete musician, and to be open to collaborating with people that play different genres than you, people who are older than you, people that are younger than you, people outside of music. Because, like I said earlier, it's all about the community in the music world, and everyone knows each other, and having that community of people that you collaborate with and work with, like regardless of the genre, that's really the most special part about being a musician for me is getting to do so many different things, getting to play so many different genres. So don't be afraid to try new things. Say yes. Be open to any opportunity that might come your way.
Wow. Have you had any experience that taught you an important business or contract lesson early on?
Ooh, contracts. I haven't done as much contract stuff per se, but I've definitely had to follow up with people to get paid. That's really important, because like especially for like big agencies that I've played for as like a client. They have so many like employees that like sometimes they forget and or sometimes they don't pay you in time. So like always follow up with them and make sure that you're fairly compensated.
And also always have an organized list of the organizations that work professionally and you don't have to chase after, and have those that you have to chase after, so you put those second ones in a different place in which you probably
Exactly.
are not going back there. and,
Exactly.
and have the ones that do the that do business the way it's supposed to be. And because chasing after companies and clients in order to get paid, it should not be the norm.
Yes.
And if that's
Make
your
sure you're getting
norm,
paid.
then you have to change clientele.
Yes.
Yes, excellent. So let's have this closing reflection. If you could go back to your early college years, what advice would you give to yourself?
Ooh. Wow. Thinking back to my early college years, it's like time traveling back because so much has happened within just 5 years.
Oh
It's really
yeah.
interesting. Um, I think when I first started college, I was overwhelmed by all the work I was doing, and I wasn't really sure sometimes like why I was doing it all. So I think if I were to go back, I would just remind myself like, this, like I'm doing this for a reason. This is all like it's going to be hard in the beginning, but it's all going to pay off both literally and figuratively. And and also like hard work is not a bad thing, and also within the time that we're doing hard work, it's also really important to take care of yourself too. I've definitely overworked myself like one too many times during my early college years and
Yeah.
took on too many things, and it's important to be aware of how much you can handle and making sure you're getting enough sleep in the night, making sure you're eating your meals, because if your physical and mental well-being is not where you want it to be, then everything else is not going to be where you want it to be. So that stuff always comes first. So like, yeah, so to sum it up, I would say like, don't that I would remind myself like the hard work is okay. I know it's hard, but it's all like you're learning new things and it's going to all make sense it's all going to make sense and it's all going to pay off, and that's okay. And also, like, within that, like, take care of yourself as well. That's really important.
Fantastic. How do you personally define success at this stage of your journey?
There really is no concrete definition of success. I When people ask me what I want to do after getting my degree, like, I have goals, I have aspirations of what I do. I'd love to teach at a college, but I always tell them, like, I always say at the end, like, as long as I'm making music, I'm happy. I love what I do. Success to me is just about doing what you love and also making the money while doing it. That's
Yes.
important too.
Being
But
able to make a living with what you love.
exactly, yeah, like, having, like, no matter what kind of opportunity it is, like, whether I'm spending more time teaching or playing in an ensemble more, like, regardless of what the balance looks like, as long as I'm doing music and doing what I love, like, I'm happy, and I'm very happy right now with what I'm doing. So I think as long as I continue what I'm doing right now, then, I'll continue to find success in whatever I do.
Yeah, my definition of success is for Sunday not being traumatic because Monday's coming, and then waking up
Yes.
Monday at 6 or 7 in the morning, drinking my coffee, having breakfast with my family, and being able to go do what I like to do.
Yes.
And I think that if I can continue doing that for the rest of my life, that's it. I'm successful already. So so
Yep.
that I think that's, is that simple but so powerful.
Yeah.
I think. So what's next to no what's next for Easy? What's next for you? Any new projects or ideas in motion?
Yeah, I'm actually working on another album at the moment. I'm
Woo!
drafting up some writing and getting ideas together, and I'm also doing I'm also doing some writing projects here and there for ensembles that I'm a part of. I just wrote a chart for the Henry Mancini Institute Orchestra and the
Nice.
Miami Pixel Symphony, so I definitely want to continue to write for them more. I'll have a very big project coming up with Frost School of Music that I can't reveal quite yet, but that's coming up in the spring semester. So very excited about that, and just continuing to play. Like, I want to perform a lot more outside of Miami and outside of, within Miami, but, outside of school, and playing at different venues and more times on WDNA and stuff like that. I want to put a lot of continue to put an effort towards that, and building my own band per se, an ensemble where I can showcase my original music and connect with people. That's really important to me.
Writing a bass trombone piece for some guy that randomly invites me to present for an arts and entrepreneurship class.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you like, let's talk about it at some point.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
But
Let's do
yeah,
it.
I'll be more than interested. Wow, this has been such an amazing experience. We passed the hour, but I mean, I think it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Is such a source of fun and information, and the clock always flies, and the time always flies when you're having fun. And this has been
Absolutely.
one of those. I hope it has been the same for you, Easy.
Same.
So
Yeah. This has been, I didn't even know what time it was because it was just
yeah, I
straight
just noticed it
drag
now, and I'm like, oh my god, I know I went through all this,
on.
and I'm like, all right, I think it's time. So, thank you so much, Easy, for being here, for sharing with our students, and for sharing with this first podcast that doesn't have a title yet, but I know it's going. A lot of people are gonna like it. I'm thrilled to share your story and wisdom with our students. Your blend of artistry, leadership, and creative truly, truly embodies what this initiative is all about. And this is how I envision this initiative from the very beginning. And you're a living testament of what the whole philosophy is meaning for so many people. So thank you so much. I can't wait for our next collaboration and our next time playing together. I truly enjoy playing with you and sharing arts with you. And I wish you and we wish you all the incredible success that you well deserve in years to come. I mean, you have such a bright future in front of you. You're only 22 and you have accomplished so much, and the route still open for you. And I can't wait to foresee or see what's coming your way. And I know it's gonna be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
All right. Well, thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. For those in the arts and entrepreneurship class, you're going to click on the link in Canvas to go to this premiere on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Okay. And once you watch the entire podcast, you have an activity to complete right after. It's right under the link in modules as usual. So make sure that you click on that and do the activity for the remaining time of the class, and have it ready, because there's probably going to be two or a little bit more questions derived from this conversation into your last quiz of the semester, and probably towards your final project. So I hope you enjoy. This was a fun class today, and thank you again, Izzy, for your wisdom and sharing so much artistry and so much fun with all of us. So thank you very much. Have a good night and go get to work. Get inspired. Bye.